Hello to all of you who have spent this year with me, to all of you who have followed Top Tarot Trumps series from the very beginning, and special greetings and gratitude to those of you who have participated in Top Tarot Trumps here on your YouTube channels, but also on Instagram. Your presence means so much to me as I am sitting down now today to share with you my last 5 favorite cards, that is to say my top 5 iterations of Arcanum XXI, which is the world card, which this video is dedicated to. And while this is the last top 5 video in this in the series, I have a surprise for you in the form of a live event which will be happening very soon here at Musings by Mascha, and which I will share with you a little bit more towards the end of this video, which without further ado I invite you to join me for. I'm about to show you the selection of my top 5 world cards. Let me first say that with this video being the culmination of sorts in the Top Tarot Trumps series, my intention today is to feature the world cards that carry much of personal significance and personal meaning to me. So when I was preparing for this video, I posed a question to myself: which representations of the world card signify coming the full circle to me? I immediately knew it had to be the world cards from a historic Tarot de Marseille deck and Arcanum XXI from an RWS. For me, both Tarot de Marseille and Rider-Waite-Smith lineages, right? Well, we're talking about decks here, so those are the decks I always fall back onto, as they are very familiar to me as I started learning tarot with Rider-Waite-Smith at the very end of 2015, and less than a year later I discovered Tarot de Marseille. But then also, when I think of coming the full circle in the Top Tarot Trumps series, I really cannot think of other iterations I like, well, I feel connected to even as much as these two. And with Tarot de Marseille, I'm just generalizing, right? Tarot de Marseille, the multitude of decks, and of course Rider-Waite-Smith, there is only kind of one original image by Pamela Coleman Smith. These two cards with this particular detail, they depict and literally signify the full circle too. So with that said, these two cards, which I chose to include in my top 5 representations of Arcanum XXI, are the world cards from the early 18th century Pierre Madenier Type 2 Tarot de Marseille, and this one, the one that I'm featuring today, because I really like the shape of this world dancer, but this card is from the handmade version of Pierre Madenier by Marco Benedetti. The paper in this tarot is absolutely amazing, and you can see it's laid paper with vertical orientation and just absolutely delightful. But then Pierre Madenier Tarot de Marseille, I see it as the most beautiful and delicate tarot of Marseille tradition, as well. Many of you know I do see this historic tarot being one of the most beautiful historic Marseille Marseille tarots. And of course, you all recognize the world card from an RWS deck, with this print being from what we now call the Blushing Fool, the vintage RWS deck, which was published in association with Waddington Playing Cards Company, with my edition of this vintage tarot being from 1972. So to me, the almond-shaped, or almond more in Tarot de Marseille, kind of more oval-shaped wreath of laurel leaves, also known as mandorla, we see in these cards. This detail always drew my eyes in to pay attention to. But what does this shape, this wreath, the mandorla, reminds you of? Could it represent a window, an enclosure, a bubble, a circle of glory, laurels, right? Perhaps even a photo frame. Well, the context of a reading would usually determine that, wouldn't it? We are 5 days away from Christmas as I'm filming this video, so let's use Christmas as the context. So could this mandorla signify a wrapping, or in other words, Christmas gifts having been wrapped up? Forgive me this mandorla detour on my part. But look, these two cards, they of course also visibly carry Christian connotations, which I know not very easy for many, but in the case of these representations, these two representations, I am not bothered by them at all, as when I started with RWS, I liked the world card immediately without even having had a clue what these four guardians in the corners in these cards may even mean. I talked extensively in my world cards throughout history video how these four can be seen as four evangelists, four elements, four suits of tarot, or four zodiacal signs. These days, if they draw my attention to in a reading, when the world card shows up, I check in more with the elemental references and suits being water, air, fire, and earth. Now, while we have these two representations of our today's feature card, feature Arcanum, in front of us, I might as well take a moment to share with you how I see the world card when it appears in my readings. First of all, I see the world card as a completion of a cycle or a process, usually a fulfilling completion. It is often a triumph in the areas of our lives we ask our cards about. What I mean by completion, though, it's not that sense of finality, but rather it's the completion of one phase so that another phase can begin. The world card is the card of synthesis, and I remember, in the words of my teacher, Camelia Elias, the world card is a full stop, saying I made it. I like the full stop analogy, as to me, the world card is just that, the full stop in one sentence, and one sentence only a bigger story behind the area of our lives we're asking, or the story of our lives. For example, in the case of our Top Tarot Trumps series, this Top Tarot Trumps adventure has reached its end only for the new cycle to begin. So when a project comes to its completion, the World card may invite us to celebrate our successes, to feel our efforts being recognized, to accept rewards, as we are here with the mandorla of laurel leaves, which hints on being recognized, on being rewarded. And sometimes it's also okay to take that center stage, to enjoy this moment, to celebrate our achievements, to celebrate our glories and happies, but at the same time to begin to plot what is next as we get ready for the new cycle to begin. Now, in an example of a difficult situation, let's say the end of a relationship or an unexpected ending of employment, the World card can be harsh, declaring those endings are for good. And it's hard to see them as good in the situation when we are struggling, right? But then we don't need to see those adversities in our life as good, but rather reflect on the World card appearing as perhaps signifying to us that we are ready to move on. So that's the sense of readiness with this Arcanum also. Of course, when we draw from the occult references to the World card, it can be seen on a spiritual level, and I do like that reference to Anima Mundi, the world soul, suggesting oneness and interconnectedness with everything. And with that, here is my next favorite World card represented in tarot. And this one is a no-brainer for me, and it is from the Visconti Madrone Tarot, one of the oldest illuminated decks originating from the 15th century Italy. This version I'm showing to you is from my very treasured and utmost stunning personal Madrone deck, once again handmade by Marco Benedetti. Now, putting aside the references to Bianca Maria Visconti, the 15th century Duchess of Milan, and the politics of those times, what do I see when I try to personally relate to this card, when this card shows as me, right, in a reading? Well, I see Italy, the country I love so much. In the case of this particular card, I am even buying into the theory how these four areas can represent Milan, Bologna, Florence, and Venice, the four biggest cities in Italy I have visited and I cannot wait to go back to. So there is a huge sentimental value to me in this glorious cards, with the memories I have of the time in Italy. But then also, who can deny the artistic beauty of this image also, but also the beauty of the construction, beauty of Marco Benedetti's handcrafting skills, hand making his cards. And again, you can see the texture of this paper. Here we are with horizontal orientation, and the backs of the cards in the Visconti Personal Madrone are among my most favorites. Now, with this female character, right, ruling over, being positioned above the arch and ruling over the landscape, the lands underneath, well, with her being with her arms open, this gesture suggests to me that I should value the experiences I've had in these lands below, but also to be open for the new experiences to come. Now, since we are with my personal world and Italy, I will continue with this theme, as this image is an extracted segment serving as the world card in the Golden Botticelli Tarot, which was designed by Atanas Alexander Atanasov using the pre-existing artwork by Sandro Botticelli, who happens to be one of my most favorite Italian Renaissance artists. I was maybe 8 or 9 years old when I first saw the Birth of Venus painting featured in one of my school books back in Belarus, where I grew up. And I still remember thinking to myself that one day I would visit Italy and I would see the original of the masterpiece the Birth of Venus is. It took me a while, but last year at the age of 42, I saw and spent a little time around the Birth of Venus painting by Sandro Botticelli, which is kept in the Uffizi Gallery in Florence. It was a dream come true, and this is me here next to this wonderful painting. Look, I told you my selection of the cards today is very personal, and I find this beautiful image very appropriate for the world card too, stepping into the world. And with that, we have reached my last favorite world card for this video, but also my last favorite iteration of a tarot trump card for this whole series. So here is my final pick in the Nataraja, representing the world Arcanum from the Sacred India Tarot by Rahit Arya and Jane Addams. So in this image, we are with Shiva Nataraja, the king of dancers who dances through space and time. Nataraja means king dancer, with Rajas of India, of course, you know, Raja being the king. And Shiva, of course, is a Hindu deity of the universal life force, who is also a supreme being and the light of pure awareness. Shiva is known as the destroyer within the Hindu trinity of gods, other two being Brahma and Vishnu. And with being the destroyer, like goddess Kali, Shiva can be both fearsome but also most benevolent. The Nataraja, which is an informal card title in this tarot, is accurately, and of course here I'm referring to this amazing, incredible guidebook, but yeah, Nataraja is accurately called Ananda Tandava Murti, that's Sanskrit, which means the dance of bliss form. For me, being a student of yoga, this representation of Key 21 is very dear and important, as it is the omnipotent consciousness that is Shiva that created the world out of a sense of play. I will further quote from the guidebook accompanying the Sacred India Tarot. The idea of this image is that we have seen the truth and it is Shiva, or more accurately, the truth of the world is consciousness and it is perfect. So these are my current favorite world cards, which I hope you have enjoyed seeing. As always, I am curious whether you and I interpret the world card in a similar way, or whether our understanding of key 21 differs quite a bit. So I look forward to hearing from you in the comments below, and please do share your favorite iterations of the World Arcanum. Now to the exciting announcement, which I can share with you a little bit more about. On the last weekend of 2024, which is next weekend, a number of very exciting guests will be joining me live here at Musings by Mascha for the Top TarotTube end of the year live party. And those participants, my guests, all of them have now completed or almost completed the Top TarotTube challenge on their channel. So they're all YouTubers who will be joining me, and I'm very confident actually to say that those people are some of your favorite Top TarotTube participants, and perhaps even your favorite channels to watch on TarotTube. So we all share that love of tarot among us. So yes, they will be joining me here at Musings by Mascha for a live chat and for reflections, which we'll be sharing on the Top TarotTube adventure that we have gone on year long in 2024. So keep an eye on my community posts, which I will share in a few weeks' time, and I will share with you who are those participants, which is very exciting, and they're the most wonderful, talented, articulate people I really love, and the channels I love to watch here on YouTube. So yeah, community posts will be there for you, but also those of you who subscribe to my channel, and if you have your notifications on, you will see the notification of that live chat happening next weekend. Well, a few days, probably five days I'm planning for prior the event, so you will get a notification in your YouTube feed. So I invite you all to join me and the exciting lineup of my guests here on YouTube. And of course, as you know how lives go, you can join us in the chat where you type, right, live chat, which will be running during the duration of our Top TarotTube end of the year party. But meanwhile, I wish all of you who celebrate the most wonderful Christmas, and I hope to see you for this end of the year live party on my channel here next weekend. Sending much love to you all. Bye for now.